Live from Austin, Texas, and points beyond. This is the Plutopia News Network Happy Hour. Our guest this time, Brooks Coleman, and he's coming in from out there somewhere. I'm Scoop Sweeney. I'm also out there in Bastrop County and over there in South Austin. The only man to ever complete the reverse Turing test and convinced a computer that he was human, John Lebkowski.
I don't think that I really convinced the computer that I was human.
You fooled it.
I fooled you. I didn't fool the computer.
Well, I'm easily fooled.
You won't get fooled again, though.
I'm constantly in the battle of convincing myself the entire reality is actually real. So I'm still out on the fence on that.
We can certainly debate that, that whole thing about the reality of reality.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping to do that. But I'm going to do an intro now, if I can find it. There we go. So Brooks Coleman is an artist, a craftsman, and co-founder of the Robot Group, a group that blends art and technology in very interesting ways. And a Robot Group's been around for a long time. Brooks has also been in bands. The one I knew best was Liquid Mice, which I hope we'll get a chance to talk about. So hello, Brooks. Welcome. I'm trying to make sure that I'm, there we are.
I think reality impinged upon him there.
Yeah.
There he is.
All my other phones are out. I'm just going to put this outside real quick.
Oh, okay. Wow, I see some technology there.
Yep. Technology is our friend.
I see lots of wires.
It's not.
Yeah. Well, actually, I have to put all my phones outside. I'm in a trailer right now, a big Faraday cage of metal box here. But so all my phones are out on a shelf just outside the trailer. And if my Wi-Fi gets through the door just fine, but any signals inside are pretty garbled. But yeah, we're connected, sort of.
I see a lot of wire there and a blinking red light.
Yeah, that's every time I try to record a Zoom meeting in the normal computer version on the tab there on the window, it just completely throws off all the video and audio. So I've been taken to recording it on my GoPro.
Oh, that's an interesting way to do it. Actually, I thought that was a HAL 9000 up there.
Could very well be in the coming years. The advancements, the AI they install on all these things nowadays.
So tell us what you're working on now, Brooks.
Well, today I've been doing my my flying dive ring project. Let's see, didn't even have a picture of that one ready, but along with the flying dive ring, I've got a bunch of that stuff up on my Facebook page. I am inventing, I don't know if that's not going to show up either.
It kind of does.
A wider angle.
Hold it back a little bit, and I think we're good. Yeah, we can see that.
That's a something I'm working on with the Robot Group project promotion kind of thing is pandemic suppression furniture. Being my current mode, my current path is a air curtain design that has basically got a fan in the bottom of this big U-shaped thing that I just showed you, kind of a C-shaped thing where it sucks air in from below and then blows it back out through the top and creates this wind curtain, just this vertical stream of wind that as you're talking, it would be placed beside you in a restaurant situation, maybe even built into the chairs or booths and clubs and things like that, to where there are air curtains between you. And rather than trying to filter the entire air of an entire room all in through one set of vents or cycles, this actually filters the air at the location. So as you're spewing out these droplets, they're just hitting this wind curtain and then being sucked right down into the filtration system. That way you can have filters, electrostatic filters, UV light chambers, all that stuff, all in one little compact unit where it's just constantly over and over filtering out, extracting any droplets and filtering them out, and then replacing the air. And I'm thinking about doing like this first test fixture. I'll be uploading soon a video on the Robot Group page, a Robot Group YouTube channel. First one is just to test the effects of such a wind curtain and how well they can extract the droplets, how well they can block the droplets from traveling, as well as how well they filter out the droplets in the cycle. But also I'm going to do a table where it's got a centerpiece kind of thing, to where the entire surface of the table, a restaurant table kind of thing, is a big grate, big screen surface, that big vent that it's sucking all the droplets out. So as you're talking, they can't spread across the table onto anybody else's dinner, and all of the particulates around the table just immediately get sucked down into the table itself, and then it comes out through a center tube up and then reprojects down. So it's that constant. It's basically the whole the same technique they use in chip fab labs, where
Wow.
the entire floor is one big grate and the ceiling is one big vent blowing all down.
That sounds like a great approach.
Oh yeah.
You know,
well, I've been thinking about doing it for schools as well. And I've got I started out thinking, how can you convert a room to do that, to be a chip lab quality circulation thing? And it would have to be a raised floor and lowered ceiling kind of thing. You would lose, retrofitting, classrooms rather than burning down every school in the U.S. and rebuilding them as safe situations. That's just not feasible. And I mean, like so many people complaining about the effectiveness of masks and social distancing. It's what's feasible now, guys.
a lot of the malls are doing that, a similar kind of thing, only in a very expensive way, just laying in huge amounts of HEPA filters and just rechanneling all of their airflow through the filters, and and you're just trying to keep it moving at all times, but it's extremely expensive.
Yeah,
your approach seems a lot less expensive.
Could be. That's what the test fixture is all about, is seeing how the volume of air, the velocity of the air required to provide a barrier, and then measure how much current it takes. These are going to be fairly stout blowers, so there will be a certain expense there in the power supply. But also I've had a lot of training, personal experience training, in that I've got really, really bad allergies, always have all my life. And I tell you, when I moved to Bastrop the first couple of years out there, I thought I was going to die. That has got to be the worst place for allergies on the planet.
Absolutely, yeah.
And springtime is really awesome. The flowers are just incredible out there, but it is just brutal. The cedar pollen, videos of throwing a 2x4 at the trees, and it's just monster cloud, looks like it's on fire. And I think everybody's seen those that's lived out there. But yeah, I when I first moved out there, I lived out there for 5-6 years before I started this project where I had to mill. I got several contracts for milling porch railing balusters, and they've made the building codes now to where you have to build all that exterior stuff out of rot resistant wood. And out in Bastrop, there's a mill out there that specializes in cedar and pine trees, the local cedar and pines. So for several years, I was milling cedar, and I developed, I mean, in such high quantities, I was producing literally truckloads, mountains of cedar dust out behind my shop. And while it's not really the dust that's the allergen, it was so thick, and I mean, it's downright dangerous in the summer when I was working, because the particulate cedar, that stuff is really, really flammable. And one spark could have ended up like a grain silo kind of explosion. So I was humidifying the air and filtering it. And eventually I came up with this idea. I just built, that's when I started building my spacesuits. I know some of you may have seen my postings. I'll post some of those later, but I started doing spacesuits, and I was using the HEPA filters and the air conditioners, the higher pressure air conditioner blowers were helping circulate it. I had air hoses, the dryer vent hoses, hooked up to the back of my spacesuit helmet. And that was great because I could cool and heat the air depending on what season it was. So I was quite comfortable in it. And I ended up doing a little project for a friend where I was doing lead paint removal, scraping lead paint from all of her window casings and everything. And I did that in the middle of blazing hot Texas summer. And it was actually cooler in the spacesuit with the air conditioner running. I had the portable AC unit in the back of my truck. And it was everybody else around me ready to die. And I'd take off the suit and, no, man, I'm leaving this on. This is way better.
It sounds kind of like a hazmat suit.
Yeah. And
wow, I wish I had one of those.
Yeah, I eventually evolved and realizing, I was sleeping. I had another indoor one with padded interior parts where I was sleeping in it. The allergies would get so bad sometimes.
Oh my God.
And then at one point I realized you can get a 20-inch box fan and a 20-inch HEPA filter, tape the HEPA filter to the back of the box fan, and boom, that just made just a huge, I didn't discover that reality till I moved out here to Kingsland. And
DIY air filter.
While I don't have nearly as many cedar trees out here, it hasn't been so bad. There is a particular breed of flower that when it blooms in its really peak season, it can be kind of brutal to me. Had one year where it was just, I walk out the door and it's just blinding yellow everywhere. And I was one of the worst years I've ever had. But that they only peak about once every 6 or 8 years. So that's not really been an issue. But since I put these HEPA filter box fans in the trailer, I just don't have allergies that much anymore. That's been the biggest lifesaver, biggest change in my entire life. As far as
I was just thinking, I guess it was yesterday, I was thinking, man, I'm having a fairly light cedar season. And then I realized it's because I don't go outside at all. And I've got HEPA filters in the house,
Yeah.
I've got a couple of ionizing filters, and there's just little exposure. My eyes were
What?
still itchy though.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I've been wondering about, they've reported the flu season's been just drastically knocked down, and
Right.
they're crediting the face masks for those, and just with all the uh, emphasis that's been boosting now, I've been wondering what the allergy doctors are going to be reporting over the next year or so. But
Yeah. All those
this,
guys who made a big living on flu and allergies are going to be out of work.
Well, living out here in Cedar Pollen land in Bastrop County, I wear my mask anytime I go out. And this is the
yeah,
first year where I really just haven't been, sneezing myself silly when I go out. So I think it does work quite well.
yeah. I mean, I love it now that everybody else is wearing masks, and I don't have to feel so weird about going in a public place, and with my mask on. And hey guys, welcome to the club. That's been my life for the last 20 years. But yeah, live and learn. It's going to be interesting over the next couple of years to see all the different uh, research projects people are looking into the data. And I remember after 9/11, they had there was a nova dimming sun. I think it was a nova on the different phases the sun goes through as far as brightness, and the effect it has on our ozone layer and UV and all that. And the way 9/11, those days of where just shut down worldwide air traffic, and the effect that had on the environment, and the pan evaporation rate test that they've been doing for hundreds of years, and just the huge change in that data. That's the longest environmental data point they've got, and how that this one event just changed all of that forever. Just changed for that period of time, and how the cycles of the contrails, the cycles of the contrails from jet plane traffic has on our heat absorption. And
It was weird. I would have thought that I really didn't notice too much the air traffic overhead. I mean, pretty distant, right?
uh,
Once it all stopped, I was really aware of it. And part of it was that the sky was, I guess, a little clearer, fewer contrails, and just the sounds of jets were sort of acclimated to hear
yeah,
that. And when you're not hearing it, it seems very quiet.
Yeah, it was spooky quiet out here because my neighborhood is just right under, I don't know if it's the departure or the arrival circling path to ABIA. And when they shut down, it was nice. I could go outside and not hear a jet. And, when in normal times or abnormal times, it would just be really, noisy during the daytime. At the height of, air traffic, it was just one jet after another flying over, and it was spooky not to hear that.
It's
yeah,
kind of a comfortable sound at this point. I find that I feel a little more civilized when I hear a
yeah.
jet overhead.
That civilized world.
So,
Well,
Brooks, I was wanting to ask you about, like, how old is the robot group now? It's what,
oh,
3 decades or?
uh, yeah, it's over 30 years old now, and Depending on whether you consider the incorporation date, I believe was in the 89, somewhere closer to late 80s, whereas I think we first started actually meeting in the mid 80s, around 84 or 85. And I guess it was, yeah, it had to be like 86, somewhere in there. And
And you guys were meeting every week, right?
yeah, yeah. Well, we were just kind of loosely gathering at Discovery Hall and downtown, the old Greyhound building. And yeah, it started. I met all those folks. Betsy McCutcheon, through when Discovery Hall was at the Arts Warehouse, and I I knew Betsy and a couple of the other the manager Mike Wren, and met a couple of those folks there, and I was doing a couple little projects off-site, but never really got to meet everybody there until I moved into the new place. I was one of the few people that had a truck in the museum, I got enlisted to do the move, and I was moving into my warehouse right about the same time they were moving out of Arts Warehouse and into the Greyhound site. And so I ended up being a kind of a way station and overflow area. And yeah, pretty quickly filled up all of my 5,000 square feet of rented space. And that worked out good because Robot Group had just started to grow, and I just started building. I just built the pit bull, the pneumatic pit bull, and the whole time Betsy had kept mentioning, "Hey man, you've got to meet this guy David. He's another robot builder guy. I think you guys really should meet." And I got the pit bull built and brought it down to Discovery Hall and did a show one Saturday morning, and saw Dave walk up, looked kind of shocked, came over and hey, you're just the guy to help me build this thing. Held up me a picture of when it ended up being the varmint, and yeah, that he originally was planning on using off the shelf stuff like washing machine parts, which would have been, yeah, probably would have worked, probably would have gotten it working, but air power was just starting to get really good with robotics. And so I said, well, they just dumped, this whole crate of air product, Bimba and P&K pneumatic parts, and had all the parts we needed right there. So we just started building robots like crazy until we ran out of parts, and we got a lot of really cool stuff built, and more people started getting involved. And Dave was taking me to a restaurant one day, and where he had some stuff set up, and hey man, I just found this card. These two guys from Motorola just left their card on one of my robots, and saying, hey, we should add the most modern new state-of-the-art microcontrollers to your robots. And he said, hey, that's a great idea. And that's pretty much the real birth of the Robot Group. That was Bill and Alex from Bill Craig and Alex Isles from Motorola.
Yeah, I remember those guys really well. I haven't seen them in several years, but well, I found out about the Robot Group in Newsweek. And there was that article with a picture of you, and it was like, wow, these guys are in Austin. So that's when I first sought out the Robot Group. And of course, I wasn't capable of building any robots, but I was certainly capable of helping in other ways. And the thing I remember best is RoboFest.
Uh-huh.
And particularly the RoboFest we did, it must have been 94 or so. You remember we did one year where EFF Austin and Fringeware both got really involved. And we did that LAN, the one that led Steve Jackson to create Illuminati Online. We
Oh,
built a LAN in RoboFest, and we had internet connectivity, and there was various kinds of experimentation there. And there was a Moo called Metaverse that was part of that LAN, which Steve Jackson wanted to productize eventually. But what I also remember from that particular event was a great performance by Liquid Mice. So how did Liquid Mice form?
well, actually, for me, Robot Group was kind of always an offshoot of Liquid Mice, being that I was originally building robots uh, for performing with for our group, and we'd actually been performing with the pit bull and several of my little robotic arms. Um, we had been doing that long before I ever started out at Discovery Hall, but I guess we started Liquid Mice around 81, 82.
Wow.
A bunch of us artists and musicians, folks at living at the Arc Co-op on Pearl Street. It's now the Pearl Co-op due to all the busts they had over the years for drug use, but and too many really, really good parties. We always suspected the club scene, the clubs around on 6th Street were the ones that ratted us all out for all of our cool parties at the Arc, because we got we did a party with Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Oh, wow.
We had it scheduled long before he did the thing with David Bowie and was touring with the Stones, and then he got this big gig. It was a Halloween show we had booked with him, and then he got a gig opening up for the Stones at the Cotton Bowl, which was going to be the day after Halloween. And we thought, surely, oh yeah, okay, we're sunk. We're going to be looking for a new headliner, thinking he was going to cancel, but no, he stuck with it and did our show, the night before, and was so cool about it that and helped us work with the UT's transportation Laidlaw, I think it is, to where they booked like three of the UT buses to cart us all up there, to cart everybody with a ticket to the Rolling Stones show. So your ticket to the Halloween show, if you got the full package deal, you got a ticket to the Halloween show, a ticket to the show, Rolling Stone show at the Cotton Bowl, and a seat on the bus. And each bus had a keg of Shiner Bock in the back, and a couple of little pieces of paper, shall I say, legally, that came with the ticket. And so that was the package deal. Our social rec department at the Arc had some really interesting parties.
Is that like what you call a little blotter?
Yeah, a little.
Got it.
You won't
Mickey
find that
Mouse.
kind of a deal on all the ticket agencies, I'm sure. If
Yeah.
you did, it would be an easy sale.
It would be a much better world.
Yeah.
Well, that's fantastic.
Yeah,
So now I guess the obvious question, did Stevie Ray Vaughan ever jam with Liquid Mice?
No, we never got that one. Well, actually, Liquid Mice, I can't remember if we were doing it at the same time, but Stevie Ray Vaughan used to practice at Musicians Rehearsal Hall. That was before the Austin Music Network thing. Fred Mitchum used to run rehearsal complex in South Austin called Musicians Rehearsal Hall. And Stevie and his whole crew would practice there. But so Liquid Mice would occasionally practice on those nights. And, half the time we'd be on break and, we'd go outside and sit and just listen to these guys just blow all night long. They'd go for like 3 or 4 hours straight, and some of the band would come out and, oh man, please tell me he's gonna stop soon, And they were just completely wiped out, and he's just going and going and going. But somebody turned him off for a while, let the rest of us rest. But
So describe your instrumentation with Liquid Mice. What did you play?
Well, basically whatever we could get working. None of us were really rich, and I remember a friend actually had to buy me a drum kit at the time, and bought parts of it, and I ended up selling my hang glider to buy some other parts, some other equipment. But yeah, we had standard Herman Garcia played guitar, and slowly had to save up money to buy an actual amp to hear over the drums. And
Curtis D was on bass. That's where I met Curtis D.
Oh, well, he came along at a later date. Liquid Mice actually formed bass players. We went through, just 3 decades of bass players, and we sort of had a bass player, James McDougall, used to play bass in the early years, and I think around 1980, 81, when we formed in the Arc. And and James McCartney played synthesizer, had a really cool EMU synthesizer, and I think it was EMU, either that or a Paya. But he had a pretty cool set of effects and synthesizers and keyboards. And let's see, Lynn Smith, of course, the late Lynn Smith, no longer with us, died a couple of years ago. Trumpet, keyboards, and guitar, and pretty much every other instrument on the planet. And I did mostly drums and percussion and some guitar and bass. But I made a lot of homemade instruments.
That's what I was remembering.
Yeah, the spring lid is probably the most notable of my instruments. Most spring people remember spring, big screen door. It was kind of heavy duty spring door, stretched across a big piece of heavy steel with a guitar pickup, and played it with a bow a lot of the times. And that got a lot of cool effects out of that. And but it's still kicking, it still works. Lost I guess Curtis around what year was the first South by Southwest? That was
it was the late 80s.
Yeah, late 80s.
The first that was just strictly music, I think it must have been 86 or 87, I would think.
Yeah. The year after the very first was when we did our first X over XX alternative festival. After none of our friends got in selected for the first one, we decided we were going to do the alternative. And actually the X over XX was the first year for the Spring-a-Lin and some of our more gizmonic effects. But yeah, we did that at Paperbacks Plus after they moved out of the site for the Voltaire's basement thing. They moved to Paperbacks Plus above the old lithoprint building, and we had just gotten the bookstore all set up. We were starting to open the club upstairs, and the bookstore had already moved in, was already open, but there was a lot of things they hadn't really done yet. They it had all these new bookcases set up, but hadn't really anchored them to the ground or anything, or stabilized them. So as I got to say, our festival X over XX, the first one, was actually a week longer. We had, I seem to remember, we had more bands in our week-long event than the first South by Southwest did in their first. They did, I think it was a 2 or 3 day event for them, their first two. And ours was a full week long, and so ours was bigger. And
Austin story competing with Southwest and winning.
And we had some downsides. Some of the punk bands that we couldn't fit in to the show. Some of their crowd ended up smashing up a bunch of windows, busted out a bunch of car windows in the parking lot.
Oh, wow.
The last night, or the second to last night. And then the final straw was the killer. Well, didn't completely kill Club A upstairs, but on the very last night of our festival, the very last band, well, Liquid Mice was the closing act, but the second to last band of the whole week was a band called The Collapse. And I was out.
They were aptly named. Is that it?
Yeah, I had been out playing with another band that night on 6th Street, and was coming back and getting ready to set up for the closing act for Liquid Mice. And I show up, and the parking lot was basically empty, and only 2 of the Liquid Mice still hanging out, still around. And hear a lot of screaming inside, and what happened? Dude, The Collapse just earned their name. And they were packing out. The elevator was right next to the end of a long row of bookcases that were not bolted to the ground.
Oh, Lord.
And the guys from the band were just hanging out by the elevator, drinking a few last beers before they go. And one of them just happened to lean against one of these bookcases, and boom, and it just,
like dominoes
effect. Yeah, it just
wow.
wiped out the entire bookstore all in one second.
Man.
And the manager was in there, God, motherfucking hippies, you and your fucking
no sense of humor, sounds like.
Yeah, well, me and the rest of the mice went in, and most everybody had left. There was Leonard and I guess were the only 2 guys left by that point. And so we walk in just sheepishly. So you want us to help clean up the place, you know? And no, you're going to go upstairs and you're going to play the best goddamn set you ever played in your goddamn lives, you know? So we go up there. He goes, yeah, there's 1 person left in the audience, and you're going to entertain the motherfucking hell out of him. And so we did, and we gave it our best shot. And fortunately, half of our sound that night was an overdub track. You know, we had set up this wall of sound thing in the background, and we were just kind of performing along with it. And so we went and did a full hour-long set, and this one guy in the audience, yeah, fuck it, best set I've ever seen all week, you know. And turns out that was oh gosh, I can't even remember his name. Franklin or something. He was a writer for, I think, the Oasis, or I forget which magazine it was. I should have had this prepped, but yeah. Uh, oh, uh, Best review we've ever gotten ever. Anything. It was something like, yeah, I spent the whole week going around getting smoozing all these producers and record agents and all these musicians and being screwed by them, and like a couple of hundred acts walked in and out through these clubs. Most of them, just walk in, turned around, walked out, and just wasn't really interested. Nothing I hadn't heard a million times before. And this one last place, we just figured we'd stop in. I'd stop in and see what was up with these guys. And turned out the one, was the only person in the audience, but these guys played their hearts out like their lives depended on it. I don't think he realized the whole story, what went on downstairs at the time, but said, yeah, the best show I saw all week, and the first time people actually playing with real feeling and emotion. But,
Sounds like you discovered the secret to getting a great review. Just invite one guy.
Yeah. Under the threat of death.
Brooks, we're down to we got about 20 minutes, a little under 20 minutes left. You sent me some videos. You want me to play one of those?
Well, can you do that? I can
do it.
Yeah.
I can. We figured it out. We figured out how to share the screen and the sound.
Yeah, okay.
But the question is, which one would you want me to share?
Well, everybody always wants to see the, I know a lot of people have weak stomachs for the drone diving stuff, but, most everybody always, I know I'll go to my grave, even if I were to, create peace in the Middle East and cure cancer and create an unlimited supply of free energy. The only thing people would really remember me for would be the metal bras. And that's what everybody always wants to see. So, and the one I tagged there has a little stream you can see.
The year of the art bras?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's got kind of just a real flash screen kind of sequence that scrolls through them all.
Let's see here.
Yeah, that was kind of
so
weird.
I don't, and you said not to play the sound on this one, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was kind of a failed Kickstarter pitch. When I moved out here to Kingsland, I started, well, I had been working for my brother in Ohio for money, and most of my tools were
Hello,
still back.
My name's Brooks Coleman.
You killed that audio. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, my most of my tools were packed down, and I wasn't really set up here. And I had closed out the place in Bastrop and made the final move out here. And I had done the fashion show in Bastrop with the metal bras, and I had sold a few batches to local boutiques, and I was selling in New York through Patricia Fields, which was I was getting really good publicity through that. I mean, the very day after I got my first batch of stuff in Patricia Fields, they had done they put it out on the floor, and they said, well, this is great. You need to start working on getting a better website. And I want to see do you have any video of your best stuff being used in a fashion show, that would be really cool. And so the Saturday night, I sat down and started going through my videos because I was going to edit together a good promo video. And so I was going through, all my old stuff, couldn't find any really good stuff, and put down one tape, looked up on the screen, and thought, well, gosh, that's a really cool one. Wait, that's my newest one. Wait, that's not a video. I can't remember doing this. Who are these people wearing my stuff? And then it took a second to kick in. Wait a second. This is live. This is Saturday Night Live. And they're already doing a skit with one of my metal bras on Saturday Night Live.
Oh, wow.
And my phone started ringing. Hey, man, I just saw your thing on Saturday Night Live. And so that was like the very definition of overnight success. But I don't know. I'm not seeing it scrolling on the video playing, but is it playing for you on that end?
I'm seeing it. Are you seeing it?
Well, all I'm seeing is the year of art bras and a free screen, but
yeah, I'm not seeing any action, just that one screen.
Oh, really? That's funny.
Is it playing for you, John?
Well, yeah, it is, but I'm starting it over again. Is it playing now for you?
No.
Looks like your screen is frozen because I see your cursor and it's just hovering over the full screen symbol.
We will just start over again with that.
Well, they can go to...
wait a minute. Let's see. I did the wrong one.
There you go.
I noticed your promo had the Etsy store link on it, so that'll be fine. But
where is that? Oh, what happened to it? Give me a sec here. I will try to find it.
Well, I guess you didn't pass that Turing test.
Well, I seem to have lost that. I must have closed it, but I will find it again.
Let's see. Oh, well, I tell you, while you're
Just
talking
give me
about
a sec. I can find it.
Well, one of the other things this thing I mentioned in my bio section thing that it's been a constant on the shelf in my mind, but I'm constantly adding to the ideas. Is this idea? I've got this whole notebook here full of ideas that I've got. What the other save the world idea, other than the pandemic suppression furniture, is.
Are you seeing this now?
Oh yeah, now we're seeing
there we go.
It could be that
while this is
expanding
running
it.
in the background.
Huh?
Yeah, that's working. Yeah. So
let me see if I can.
Yeah. The other save the world thing.
Can you see it okay now? Is it still moving?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
It's yeah. There we go. Yeah. Juxtaposition to all of this. A big goal I've got of my real life save the world kind of thing is, I think the biggest problem in our world violence thing and white supremacy, police violence kind of thing against people is police just don't have any good middle options. There's, let them go or threaten them with death, with lethal ammo. And even then, put a bunch of bullets in somebody and hope they die, bleed out, or pass out before they shoot back. That's what kind of self-defense is that, And the whole idea of, well, I got a gun, and while people debate whether the death penalty through a court is legal or what, meanwhile, I've got a gun and I can kill somebody and just say I was threatened, and if the evidence doesn't counter that I felt my life was threatened, then I get away with whatever, Give people people that don't want to use lethal force, give them another option. And the less lethal options out there are just, I mean, tasers, yeah, okay, so. But it just seems like all of those technologies that they're promoting right now are just, I mean, as a less lethal option, are just really.
Whoops, I think we lost the signal there.
Yeah.
Hey, Brooks, we lost your your picture. Yep, Wi-Fi.
It was those metal bras.
Yep,
There he is.
he's back.
Okay, well, I'm going to cut my video. So anyway, all right.
I think it was trying to stream all the bras at the same time you were talking.
Yeah.
He lost consciousness.
But we've got your audio now, and we have 9 minutes left.
Okay. Well, anyway, yeah, my whole thing nowadays, my goal is part of why I've gotten really involved in drones. Well, I'm so addicted to the racing and flying. I've always been into flying since I was born, just loving airplanes and everything. But the technology advancements through the drone home builder crowd now, I mean, it's just amazing what people are doing. There's so many people designing and building their own boards now. Just the advancements. It's like the Pentagon couldn't have begged for a better way, a better research method than having millions of tech savvy drone junkies just diving into this technology and it making these advances that, I mean, they couldn't possibly have predicted, and chosen a funded path that would have the outcome that the hobby drone industry has produced. And just market driven kind of technology. Screw whatever predictions people have made, that kind of stuff, and what they thought would actually happen. The stuff people are doing, just hacking, and the addiction factor in driving this technology.
What's the best development that you've seen?
Just thought I'd give her. Oh, well, I mean, but merging the GPS technology with the drone autopilot kind of stuff is amazing. But just a variety of the flight controllers, the speed controllers, and the battery technology, all of that stuff is just getting just major advancements so fast, just by everybody being able to use it and test it in just real time. It's frustrating that it does. All of our old stuff that I'm just learning how to use goes obsolete so quick. And this right there, my hand on the flight controller, that was we in the robot group were actually the first people in the US to actually fly a quadcopter, and that flight controller right there with its mechanical gyros. Yeah. And
there it goes.
The way in our blimps there. Yeah. And the way, I mean, that stuff that we wanted to develop so badly, but, we just didn't have, the market driven drive, market driven research and R&D facilities being pressured to develop all this stuff. And now the hobby is just like the configuration software now. You can connect to these flight controllers and configure just all sorts of different ways to arrange the motors and what size of motors, what
The flying saucer.
Oh, did we lose Brooks
Oh
again?
yeah.
they're back.
Oh,
There
But
you go.
yeah, the flight controller, the ability to program your own, adjust your own PID settings, and just the advancements they've made in the PID settings alone, just um, being able to have them anticipate moves and stuff like that, and but how to configure video sharing and that kind of stuff. If I was better at it now and then in my research, I could actually be doing a Zoom flight where I'm actually live streaming the video from the drone at the same time. And here's one of the things that make people nauseous. A lot of my robot group friends cannot watch my videos. Oh, and that's a very special, very special video of that light tower right there. It has a special significance to me right now, being that I am patiently waiting for the community center to finally get back with me on how much one of those light bulbs is going to cost me, being that I smacked my drone into one of them a couple of weeks ago.
Well,
But
John, we need to commission Brooks to come up and design us a Plutopia news drone.
Oh yeah.
oh yeah,
That way we don't have to do cameras. We can just have it circle us when we get out into the real world again. That'd be the perfect way to cover an event.
yeah.
Plutopia's
I
always
think
needed its own UFO.
Yeah, it's
well, I tell
This is
you,
nice.
a lot of this technology in the drone world and the camera technology and everything, it got me to starting to thinking about how to develop a non-hackable, fake news proof journalism camera
Oh,
that
cool. That's a great idea.
where some way to hardwire in a GPS system and other metadata system, to where you couldn't hack the software because it was all hardwired in a chip, to where you had a camera that would record, it would record a variety of metadata kind of tags or whatever that would confirm the location and situations leading up to the event that's being recorded, to
kind of like
where
time code is used in a lot of video and audio.
yeah,
Only a lot more data than just the time code.
some way to make, and to be able to have it so incredibly cheap and usable, to where you could fly over areas of where truth is being suppressed and just airdrop, just these little patches, little postage stamp size little chips, to where anybody can pick one up and say, oh yeah, here's what happened over here, and it's still going on, kind of thing. And
That's actually a great concept, because that's always one of the problems with the advent of deep fakes, being able to prove that it's legit.
Yeah. It's just, just sick of idiots, the QAnon factor. I I actually had started liking some of the early QAnon stuff. Looks like we might be out
Well,
of
when
here.
we flash that up, that means that we're at the end. We've actually
Okay.
been on for an hour, so we would love for you to come back and talk about QAnon, though. We've been talking about QAnon a lot on here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bring some of
I
your robot friends, and we
Yeah.
we can interview them as well.
yeah.
Be a regular Plutopian.
All right.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
thanks
Thanks,
very
Brooks.
much.
That was fun.
Yeah. And we
Yeah.
will see
That
you
is the
soon.
record time I've ever been online on. Yeah. Okay.
And this will be
I'll
available on both
check with you.
YouTube and Facebook if you want to watch yourself.
Yeah, I'll have the
That sounds great.
I'll have the YouTube up on our channel tomorrow.
All right. Good night,
Okay.
everybody.
Later.
Sounds good.
Thank
See
you.
ya.
Bye-bye.